Welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Today is one you definitely want to listen to. We talk all about money mindsets, which is something that as a business owner, you have to work on your own money mindsets so your business can grow. And we'll get all into that throughout this episode. But first, if you are a professional organizer ready to strengthen your business in 2025, while connecting with other passionate professional organizers, I have the perfect opportunity for you. I am launching a 12-month mastermind paired with my Strengthen Your Business course, which is a 12-module program designed specifically for organizers like you. We'll cover everything from refining your branding and marketing to nailing down your ideal clients and learning basic life coaching techniques that will make your clients say, wow. If your business is launched, but you find yourself wishing that you had more clients, or you sit down to work on your business and think, what can I do to actually grow my business? Then this mastermind is for you. No more spinning your wheels or wasting time on the things that you think you should, quote unquote, be doing. Our motto at POC is keep it simple, plant seeds, and stay consistent. Because girl, you do not have time to waste. This mastermind and course combo will give you a step-by-step roadmap to grow your business while being supported by a community of like-minded organizers. Each month, we'll tackle a new business growth topic, whether it's marketing strategies that actually work, defining your unique brand voice, or techniques to elevate your client experience so they become your biggest promoters. Growth does not happen in isolation. In this mastermind, you will have access to monthly group calls where you can share wins, ask questions, and get feedback. You'll walk away with actionable steps and the motivation to keep pushing forward because you're not doing this alone. So if you're ready to strengthen your professional organizing business, build a supportive community, and transform 2025 into your year of growth, join us in the Strengthen Your Business Mastermind. Click the link in the description below, and let's make your organizing business stronger than ever. We want to build that firm foundation so you know exactly what you're doing as your business grows. And I promise you, you do not want to be sitting here at the end of 2025 thinking, man, why did I not join that mastermind and course that Samantha offered last year? And we're going to have replays. So if you can't make the mastermind meetings live, which will be the third Thursdays of every month from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, then there will be a replay vault specifically for mastermind members only. I promise you, if your business is already launched and you've worked with at least a handful of clients, this is definitely the mastermind and course that you want. It's probably going to launch for something around $297. I will definitely make sure that you hear more about it right around January 1st. It's definitely on a first come, first served basis. So make sure to click that link in the show notes, fill out the form, and just let me know you're interested. No matter where you are on your journey, I have something that will help you. That is what I am creating here at POC. It's everything that I wish I would have had when I was starting my business, when I was growing my business. Even now, there's stuff that I learned that I'm like, wow, why haven't I done that yet? And so I want to make sure to help you with all of the knowledge that I have, but also the community. It makes such a difference when you have a group of women that you meet with, the same women every single month, so they can help hold you accountable. They can give you ideas that you wouldn't have even have thought of. It's so different than actually telling your husbands or telling your friends. They're like, oh yeah, great. That's amazing. Good idea. Or are you really doing that? Like you're an organizer now? How'd that happen? I've heard so many different things from friends and family. That is not what this is. When you are with other professional organizers that are going through the exact same things that you are, all of a sudden, everyone understands you and you don't feel crazy. You feel like you belong. And that is what I want for you. The best things that I've done for my business at different times is I have trusted God, even if it didn't look like I had the money. And if it was something that I knew I needed for my business, then I went ahead and purchased it. And those are the things that are still helping me in my business or with the podcast. I have a course that I purchased probably 4 years ago now that I still refer back to. And so I just want you to know that if you feel like this is something that could help you, please do not talk yourself out of it and think, oh, well, I can't afford that. I am not one of these crazy people that charge you thousands of dollars for courses and masterminds and stuff. That is not me. So that being said, talk to God, ask the Holy Spirit if this is what you need for your business. And if it is, please click that link and just let me know that you're interested so I can make sure to get you all of the information. And if you have any questions, you can always go to proorganizerscoach.com and click contact. All right, let's get on with today's episode, all about money mindsets. I'm Samantha Brown, professional organizer, decluttering specialist, and business coach. I created Pro Organizers Coach podcast to empower you to reach new heights in your business. I am on a mission to build a supportive sisterhood of passionate professional organizers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just getting started, this podcast is for you. Hey friends, welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast and YouTube channel. Today I have such an awesome episode. I am so excited to have this conversation. So I have Scarlett Stanhope with me, and she is also known as the Biz Hippie, which I think is super cute to have, like a little nickname that you go by. And Scarlett and I today are actually going to be talking about money mindsets. And for you, you might be thinking, what in the world does money mindset have to do with my business? Everything would be the answer. So when you are starting a business, if you do not take the time to look at your relationship with money, how you feel about money, maybe some things you were taught about money that you don't even realize you were taught as you were growing up. There's so many things that we have in our life. And of course, we're starting a business to be able to make money, which most of us want to do it to spend more time with our kids and live our dreams. But we still have to be able to make money so our business can grow. And so today we're going to talk about so many different angles of money mindset that I know you're going to want to make sure to listen to all of it because it's so good. But first, let me say thank you, Scarlett, for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I am super pumped to talk more about this topic today.
So for any of you that don't know Scarlett, of course, this is what she does. Like she loves, the second her and I were talking about, oh, what topic should we, bring to you all that would help you all the most? She's like, oh, I can talk money mindset stuff all day. I love it. So I'm so excited to truly dive into this. But a little bit about Scarlett. So again, she's known as the Biz Hippie. She teaches coaches to conquer their fears and own their worth so they can be fully supported by the work they love. Scarlett harnessed the power of money to break free from her workaholic career path. I know that feeling, and pursue her dreams. She uses a combination of tangible money management strategies, as well as a variety of coaching techniques to help her clients transform their mindset and their relationship to money, allowing them to strategically achieve their goals and live their best lives. So do you care to just kind of give us a little bit about how you got into this, and then we'll jump right into the topic?
Yeah, absolutely. Really, the work that I do now is a combination of everything that I have done up until this point. So before I became a coach and became the abundance coach that I am today, I was getting my bachelor's degree in business management, accounting, and finance. I started managing restaurants from a young age. So I was very professional, high achiever, corporate success vibes. But then, within all of that, I ended up hitting my own personal rock bottom as a result of being burnt out, just being really disconnected and disassociated from myself, not knowing who I was and what kind of life I wanted to live. I had really just been driven by success and achievement and money up until that point in my life. And so after that, I slowly pivoted from being this business type of person to going full on hippie. And this is where the Biz Hippie comes from. That's when I became a life coach. That's when I started doing yoga and then teaching yoga and traveling and attending retreats and then growing my coaching business and being very coach hippie woo-woo focused. And then over time, I discovered that it's valuable to bring both of these skills together. So I brought my financial background, my money strategy background, my personal finance background with my coaching style and my personal growth and development tools. And I combined all of that together to help other entrepreneurs on this journey who are doing the same thing that I want to do, which is live my best life and do it without money stress holding me back. So that has really brought me to where I am today and the work that I do now.
There's quite a few things that you said there, but the main thing that sticks out for me is that's exactly what, I'm trying to make sure that Pro Organizers Coach brings to the world is not just that organizing can be done differently and it's not just for the wealthy and that, everyone deserves it. Not just those things, but it's also the fact of when we are starting a business, if we're going to be creating a life that we want, why wouldn't we create a life that we love? And the other thing you said is you brought both sides of you. So instead of feeling like, oh, I have to be this professional person or I have to be, the hippie. Oh, wait, I can actually combine the two. And that makes me stand out authentically, which is what brings your people to you. And that's exactly how we stand out in the marketplace and as a business owner. And that is when the mission and the passion and all of the things start happening. And you're like, wow, I'm actually living this life that I had only dreamed of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And it's that next level of authenticity to yourself. And I believe that we really can be all of the things. I think a lot of our society is one or the other in a lot of ways, especially in business. It's this idea of either I'm making a lot of money, but I'm unfulfilled and I hate my life and I'm in a job I don't like, or I am broke, but I feel fulfilled. And so that's a huge part of the mission that I believe in and that I teach to my clients is you can have both. You can feel financially supported and stable, and you can also live a life that you love. And it doesn't have to be or anymore. It gets to be and.
Absolutely. I know. I love the time of history we live in because people are awakening to the fact that it is and it's not or anymore. A lot of our ancestors, our grandparents, or whoever, they had to do it a certain way. But the age that we live in right now, we get to have the privilege of having so many more options. And I know sometimes that can be overwhelming, but at the same time, just like me and you having this conversation, it is a beautiful thing when you figure out, what do I love? Who am I authentically? And then how can I partner that to actually help the people that I'm meant to help in my life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then as a result of that, make money, right? Sometimes there's this idea of, I'm being of service, so I don't deserve to make money. It's not okay for me to make money because I'm helping someone else, because I'm doing what I love and I'm doing it out of service and care for others. And so therefore I shouldn't make money, but that's not accurate and not true. In fact, you can have both of those things. What you're doing can be from a place of service and love and passion. And you can also get paid to do that in a way that benefits everybody.
Absolutely. And honestly, that brings us into the first point, which is owning your price point and your worth. And the reason that I love this is because I'm actually editing an episode right now that I'm getting ready to put out. And I was coaching with one of my ladies and she was having that exact issue of, well, I don't know, I love doing this. It comes so natural to me. It's, I enjoy it. So I just can't see paying, someone paying me even more than what I'm asking for right now. And so we had this whole talk around it, but I would love to get your perspective and kind of, what your thoughts are around owning our price point, but it also being tied to our worth and owning our worth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's a lot on this topic that we could go into here because one is, when you're running a business, what you're doing is you're putting yourself out there and saying, my services are valuable. They are worth receiving money. And so it takes a lot of personal self-development to become successful in your business because you have to believe that you have services that are worthy and deserving of receiving payment, right? So there's a huge chunk of self-worth and personal development that has to go into being confident enough in the services that you're providing to be able to receive money. And part of that comes from experience, right? You're going to start with a lower price point when you're new and then build up from there. But often there's these other layers that are keeping us stuck. It's like even there's lots of people that I talk to and they're so good at what they do, but there's still this fear of, but I don't want to charge people and it's wrong for me to do this. And so one piece of that is really cultivating your own worth, really allowing yourself to see the value of what you are providing and allow yourself to actually acknowledge that and see it as the service, right? If you allow yourself to truly see how great you are at what you do, then you'll be able to really own your worth and charge at that higher price point that you are deserving of receiving. And also seeing, what impact does it have for you on the one hand, and also for the client to own your worth and charge your price point. I mean, for you, what it does is it allows you to keep going. If you're not getting paid and you're not able to support yourself, you cannot continue to serve because you have to live and you have to survive in order to continue to offer your services to the world. So not getting paid is a disservice to the world because the world will no longer be able to receive your services if you can't afford to live. But then on the client perspective as well, this is something that I love to coach on and have this mindset shift around money is a lot of people that I talk to, they have this idea that it's wrong to charge, that it's a disservice to the person to ask them for their money. But in my opinion, it is not a disservice. It is part of the service that you are providing to request payment. And here's why. I was actually just talking about this with a client recently. And he's a personal trainer, but this applies to every example in every industry. I said, so what happens when you have a person that comes to you and you help them a little bit, but you don't make them an offer and they don't pay you? And he's like, well, they feel a little better for a brief chunk of time, but then they go off and live their lives. And then the issue they were dealing with comes back and they're still in pain and they're still suffering. And I said, oh, okay, that's what happens to your clients that don't pay you. And then I said, what happens to the clients that pay you? And in his example, he's like, well, they get better, they get healthier. They don't even know what pain is anymore. Everything changes, right? So you requesting payment is a service that you are providing to your clients because you are giving them the opportunity to commit to what is most important to them, to commit to themselves, to commit to what they need, especially with organizing, right? I bet a lot of people put that off for a long time and for a variety of reasons. But by requesting payment, you are requiring that they commit to doing this work that they have been avoiding. And in fact, the money and requesting the money is the first service that you provide to your clients. It's also the most important one.
Yeah, I love that you said that. So there for the longest, I did not require a deposit. And I realized I was doing a disservice, not only to myself, because I only do one session per day. So if someone cancels on me, and people were canceling on me as I was driving there that morning, like my whole day's planned around this session. And then, and they would almost freak themselves out about especially when it was the first session. Now, once we did the first one, normally they were fine. But that first session, people can tell themselves a lot of things. So I finally got to where I was like, listen, I have to have a deposit to get booked on my calendar. The second I started doing that and telling them if you reschedule within 72 hours of our session without it being like sickness or an emergency, then I keep the deposit. So the second I started doing that, I've not had anyone cancel, the night before, the morning of. Now, there's been sickness and stuff come up. That's fine. But the percentage of people, and I've even also gotten to the point where during the phone call and the consultation, I will tell them, now listen, before our first session, your brain is going to start trying to convince you that this is not a good idea, that this is scary, or that this is too much, or that, whatever the thought is, you're going to have to kind of coach yourself a little and remind yourself, no, I have already committed to this. I've already paid the deposit. Samantha is coming. She has a plan. We're going to get it figured out. And I think a lot of us, especially in the beginning, the idea of having a conversation like that with a client is so scary because we don't know what we don't know yet. But very quickly, you start to see that, wait, if they don't have any skin in the game, they're going to run all over me, and then I'm going to be upset. They're going to be upset. There's no boundaries put in place, which one of my favorite sayings is, the best way that I can show you love and myself love at the same time is by having a boundary. They're important to have those boundaries. And so a money boundary is just as important. And I love everything you said about it and agree 1,000%. It is a disservice to them if you don't have them get some kind of skin in the game, because then they will talk themselves out of it. And then 3 years from now, they're going to call you again. And they're going to still be in the exact same place that they were when they called you the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And that's what it comes down to, is how much skin do you have in the game? And that comes to offering a price in the first place, like your deposit, and saying, I'm in, I'm committed to it. But it also has to do with your price point as well. There's a lot of people that I talk to who have this idea that the lower my costs, the better. The lower my price, the better. People are going to want a lower price from me. But that's also not inherently true. I believe that no matter what price you charge, could be $35 an hour, it could be $35,000 an hour. No matter what price you charge, there is somebody on this planet who is willing to pay that price and will pay you that price. It's not a matter of if someone will pay it, they will. The matter is who. Who is going to be the person that will pay you $35 for an hour, and who's going to be the person that will pay you $35,000 for an hour? And so when you're setting your price point, what you're actually doing is you're creating a filter system for the clients that you want to work with, right? Mm-hmm. If you're only willing to work with the $35 an hour person, who are you going to attract? It might be somebody who's less willing to do this, who hasn't done it before, who's kind of scared, who's like really strapped for cash, who's really stressed, right? And that's okay. You can work with those people. There's different advantages to working with different types of people, but it's up to you to uncover who are the people that you actually want to work with and what's their investment level. What are they comfortable with saying yes to, and what does it mean to them, right? And that's going to be different for whatever price point that you decide. So just instead of thinking I have to charge a low price point or else nobody's going to pay for me, think of who is the person that is willing to pay for me, and therefore who am I choosing to attract with the price point that I set for myself.
Yeah. And I think we could just stop the podcast right there.
Yep, there you go.
There you go. Done. Yeah. It's true. And I've actually never looked at it that way. It is a filter, and it is a standard of the type of clients that you're going to attract. Now, I knew that was the case, but I've never looked at it as, because exactly what you said, we all look at it from our own perspective. We forget about the client sometimes when we're building our business. We are dealing with our own money issues. And so, like for me, I was working with the autistic kids for over a decade. I was making $12 an hour for over a decade. So, whenever I transitioned and all of a sudden I'm running this business and the standard amount, I remember when I first started, I was charging $20 an hour because I was like, well, it's at least almost double from what I was. It was based on my perspective. And then once taxes came around and I realized all of the other things and all of the other things I was spending my time on and having to invest in. And, there's just so many different things that come into play with the price point. And I think for a lot of us, we look at just the hours we're with the client in home. We forget we've spent time with the phone call. We've spent time with the consultation. We've spent time in driving for the sessions. there's all these other things, taxes. I mean, the list goes on and on. And so we get to that place where we're like, oh, but, is it really worth, because like for me right now, I am it's essentially $97 an hour. It's kind of like the per hour, but I do sessions. So I do a 3-hour session and it's $297. Unless you're doing organizing and I have to spend a bunch of time measuring and doing products, then it's $397 because I'm going to get paid for the time that I'm having to do all of this research. But it also took me 3 years to get here. For the longest, it was like $197 for like a 4-hour session, and I would constantly play with the number thinking that would bring more people if I switched, or, oh, if I go up on my price, I'm going to actually get less people. But that's why I love what you said, because it's a total mindset shift of, it has nothing to do with any of that. It's actually about filtering in, wait, if these are my ideal people, what is it that they can afford? Because if your ideal person is actually, let's say, a woman that is a little bit more wealthy and that she wants you to do it for her, and then all of a sudden she sees 35 an hour, she's probably not going to hire you because she's going to be like, wait, it's only that. I mean, that's really cheap. And there's certain people in this world that to them cheap equals not quality. It equals like, I'm not going to get a good service. It equals all sorts of not good things. Some people, the more expensive, the better they assume the service is going to be. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I love what you said about that. Like, I think that's amazing, of looking at it from not just myself, like forget us. Let's think about, which we have to think about how much it's going to cost to run our business, of course. But then when we get to that place of like, okay, well, I could start out at 25 an hour. I could start out at 50 an hour. Once you get to that point, that's when it needs to be like, okay. And I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, listen, figure out how much that you need to survive, and then figure out how much you need each month to love life, to thrive, to do what you want to do. Now, those are going to be two different numbers. And at first, if you're more comfortable with the number of just, okay, at least I'm going to pay my bills, because we got to pay our bills. But you want to get to that point where you're living life, thriving and enjoying your life. And so, taking your time to get there is totally fine. But again, you have to learn to do the inner work, and you have to be willing to have some mindset shifts on these exact things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And there's multiple factors that come into the price point, and you already touched on a lot of them too.
Oh yeah, no, you're good. Which honestly, that kind of goes into our second thing, which is the impact that money is having on our business. I definitely wanted to make sure that we touch on that, because it's not just our relationship with money. It's kind of what I was just saying, but talking specifically about the impact that it has on our business, which you said a minute ago too. If we don't have money, we don't even have a business.
Yeah, 100%, because it's the energy of your relationship with money that shows up in your sales, in your consults, in your relationship to your clients, how you market, right? When you are in a really stressed place around money, that shows up in your business. If you're operating from a place of fear and scarcity and lack, and feeling like you don't have enough, and feeling really desperate and like, oh my gosh, I need to get 3 new clients this month or I'm not going to survive. They can feel that on the sales call. They can feel that desperation, and it becomes client repellent. It's a very different energy to be in, to be like, please work with me. I really need your money and I'm super stressed, right? Like, why would they want to work with you if that's the vibe they're picking up from you? It's very different than being in a place where you feel calm, confident, stable, abundant, and detached from whether or not they sign. That energy is going to come off so differently in everything you do. Your marketing, your sales, your conversations with current clients that you have, your consults, everything, because they're going to feel that energy. when one thing that creates this that I talk a lot about with my clients is actually managing your money and having a really clear picture of how much money you have, what's happening with it for your personal finances and also your business, because that's what's going to create the financial stability, is having awareness around your money, being strategic with your money, being intentional with your money. And when you have this, when you track your money, it removes a ton of financial stress that's just created from having no clarity around your money. And when you track your money and you have that awareness, it eliminates a ton of that financial stress, and it makes sales easier because you can come to every sales call or consult from this calm, centered, abundant place. And that can lead to landing so many more clients than trying to push and force someone because you're desperate for cash.
Yeah. Well, and exactly. So I love that you're bringing this up, because I feel like I'm the only one out there screaming this from the mountaintops, is like your clients will feel your energy. It comes through on your website. It comes through in a social media post. It comes through. And sometimes people look at me like I'm crazy when I say that, but I'm like, no, seriously, like the energy you're showing up to your business with is the energy that they're going to feel, whether they realize it or not. They're going to pick up on, wait, something wasn't right. Like they may not be able to put their finger on it, but they're going to intuitively be like, I don't know. I just, something was, versus, wow, man, she really, like, after talking to her, I feel more peace. I feel, calm. I feel like she's got this. Now, whether we actually have it or not, that's not the point. Because there are definitely times that I don't feel like, actually 90% of the time, I don't actually have a plan when I go in for a consult, or even especially when I'm on the phone and I've not even seen the room yet. I do not have a plan of how we're going to get there. But what I do know is if I take them one step at a time, the plan will reveal itself and we will get there. And so I stand on the framework I've created, on knowing that I just need to take it one step at a time and trust the process. And so all of a sudden, that trust that I have, it's not that it has to be figured out. I think that's the other piece. And it ties in with money in the sense of, we think that we have to have whatever we think, a set dollar amount, or we have to have whatever those thoughts are that are going on in our head. It's the same with having confidence and the energy we show up with in our business. It's not about if it's actually true or not in the sense of that one particular thought. But what does matter is knowing, hey, you know what? God's going to meet me where I need to be met. What I need is going to be where I need it to be. I have a coach. I have people to lean on. Like, if that's where you need to get your confidence from, especially in the beginning when you've not worked with many clients, lean on other people. That's why I built the community I did, because I felt so alone in the beginning. And it's exactly this. I would show up and I wasn't making the sales. I felt like a scattered hot mess because I didn't know what I didn't know. And on top of that, I didn't feel like I had anyone I could ask either. And so I was trying to pull different pieces from all these different teachers online and different things. And I was kind of confusing myself a little more, I think, than actually getting clarity. And so, but to me, that's what I love about what I'm doing and about anyone that listens, is because when you have a community, when you have a coach, when you have people around you that are doing similar things, and you obviously wouldn't be listening to this if you didn't want better for yourself. Once you start taking those steps, things start to fall into place. You start to get that confidence. Like, there is a process to it, but the process is there and it works. And it's the same with the money mindset. Yes, you need to know your numbers. Yes, you need to look at it, but you also need to trust that, like, hey, if other people have gone before me and they've done this, I can absolutely do this thing, whatever this is, when it comes to my business.
Yeah, 100%. And I love everything that you said too around that journey. Like the entrepreneurial journey it's important to know that it takes time, right?
Mm.
And you can start making money right away, right? That's important to know that it's possible to be successful very quickly. And it's very normal for it to take time. That's part of it. It's new. It's different. There's a learning curve. You have to learn new skills, how to deliver the services you're saying you can provide, and then how to market and sell those services. If you've never done that, it's going to take time to do. So that's part of it, is one, recognizing that if you're not seeing the results right away that you expected, that it doesn't mean anything about you, and it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It means you're learning. It means you are doing it. You are showing up. You have skin in the game, and you're continuing to go. In fact, the more you're failing, it means the more you're moving forward in the direction that you want to go, which is different from somebody who doesn't even have failures because they're just sitting on the couch waiting for magic to happen, right? And another thing that really helps and has helped me in the length of my business is, again, being really confident and strategic with my money so that I can be in it for the long haul. Right. Some of us start a business with this idea of, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to make a ton of money right away, and it's going to be awesome. I mean, that's what I did. And that didn't happen. And then I was super stressed about money. And again, just like we already talked about, that all of that money stress comes into the business and has a huge impact on your business for a variety of ways. So when you're really on top of your money and strategic with your money, and you know your numbers, and you continue to find ways to keep going with your business, even if you're not seeing the results that you want to see, even if you're not making the money that you really want to be making, when you have a really good and solid relationship with your money mindset, with the way you manage and track your money, that's going to help make your business success inevitable, because you'll be able to keep going even when you're not seeing the results that you want to be seeing.
Yeah, I love it. So I wonder if, or for everyone listening, right? Like if they were sitting across from you right now and they were like, okay, Scarlett, like you've sold me, I'm ready to shift my money mindset. Do you have like maybe an exercise or some kind of, even like a journaling exercise or some way? Because we've already learned we definitely need to look at our numbers. Like for sure, we need to look at our numbers and know our numbers. But I'm just curious if you have like any kind of like either exercises or like a couple tips that you would give them if they're like, you know what, I do need to start looking at shifting my money mindset.
Yeah, there's definitely lots of little things that you can do to get started. One of the most simplest and also most impactful things that you can do is start to notice where you're spending your money and why. Right? And just even notice, like, what decisions am I making and why am I making these decisions? What am I choosing? What am I prioritizing? And what life am I creating as a result? Right? Because every time you spend money on something, there's a reason, and it means something about you. Right? You can spend on something because it's going to be really fun, and I prioritize fun, and it's important to me, and it feels so good to do this thing and spend time with friends. Just notice that. But you could also do the same exact activity and do it because you're like, oh my gosh, my life sucks. Everything's horrible. I just need a distraction. Get me out of here. Right? So it doesn't matter exactly what you're spending on. It matters why and what's the energy behind that. That's really what it comes down to. You want to notice in your day-to-day life, when are you taking action from a place of fear and lack and scarcity and not enoughness? When is that driving your actions? When are you like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed about money, so I better go get a client, right? Or, oh my gosh, I just feel so horrible. I just like need a coffee so that this day could be better, right? Like just notice that versus this feels so good. This is what I want. I'm so excited to help this person's home feel better. Like, and whatever that other side of the coin is, notice when is that showing up and how can you create more of that? How can you limit your spending and action from a place of like scarcity, lack, and fear? Shift into more of an abundant energy, focusing on what it is you do want, and then take action from that place, whether it's how you spend your time, your energy, or your money, whatever action you take as a result, making sure it's coming from that abundant energy as often as possible.
I love it. Like it's again, like you said, it's so simple, but it's huge because everything that we have learned, like becoming coaches and knowing as coaches and entrepreneurs and all the things, is it all starts with awareness. If you don't have awareness of it, it can never shift. It will never shift. Nothing will ever change because you're not aware of it. So it can. And so I love that you not only said, hey, start paying attention to these things, figure out the why behind it, but then start doing things from that place of abundance and try to limit how often you're doing it from a place of lack. Because even for me, something as simple as, and I know this is a horrible analogy, but it's just what came to my head. So the other day I went to a local coffee shop because I love finding little local places, to work on the computer because it makes me feel good. Like to go there and get a coffee and like work on my computer and like, for whatever reason in my mind, that was entrepreneurship, like way back when. So when I go do that, plus it feels good to support a local business and like just all the things, like it feels so good versus like, there's been times that I'm like, I've got to work on, this today, or like this has to be done. Like just you mentioning that, I've never really thought about it, but we do show up differently to those even small things that we're spending money on. Like, I've got to buy dinner for my family again. Man, it costs so much money or whatever it is, right? Like even the energy we show up to those things in is going to then cause a domino effect into our business. And it's just going to make everything better all the way around as we start to become more and more aware of it. And we get to become more intentional, which is what I love about being an entrepreneur. It's the awareness, but then it's also we get to choose what our actions are. We get to choose our intentions and like what we are creating. Like creating is the best thing in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And that's exactly why, changing your relationship with money and learning to manage your money is so important, is because our money is how we create our lives. It's how we create this world that we're living in. And so as you become more and more intentional around every single dollar that you spend, what you're choosing, what you're prioritizing, why you're prioritizing those things, what's most important to you, and you shift all of your money in alignment with the life that you want to live, then that life becomes inevitable. And it's different for each person, right? To live a life of like a digital nomad in a camper van is going to cost less than living a life on a yacht and, traveling abroad 20 times a year, and everybody's vision is different. But when we have a really clear picture of who we are, what our current situation is financially, what our current relationship to money is, the life that we want to live, and what our vision looks like, that's when we can really strategically map out the financial reality of that life. Because maybe you don't need 50 clients at a time. Maybe you don't need to work this many hours at your job in order to live your vision. Maybe you just need to do less, and you can still have everything that you want and need. But all of that comes from having so much awareness around what's happening with your money and the way you interact with your money, and then how that shows up and impacts your business and the work that you do.
Oh, I couldn't have said it better myself. Like the whole time you're saying it, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. Like we talk about this all the time in the group coaching community. Like, because especially when you're first getting started and sometimes even later on in business, when we don't know our numbers, like you're saying, of the money part, and we just assume I need more clients, I need more clients, I need more clients, I need more clients. You're in that like awful energy that feels no good to anyone. versus, well, hold on. How much do I actually need? Which is why I a lot of the times have them do the, what do you need to live? But then what do you need to thrive, right? Like, what would you love to be bringing in? Because once we know those numbers and then we look at, oh, well, how much do I charge per session? Oh, you mean I don't have to work 90 hours a week and have 15 clients every single week to make that much money? Really? Like this, all of a sudden, it's like exactly what you said of you may actually have plenty with what you're already bringing in or be so close to it that you're like, oh, I just need to be a little more aware of where I'm spending it, but I am bringing in enough money to where I could do these things. And now let me shift just a few little things. And all of a sudden it's right there in front of you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And just approaching your life from that mindset and from that energy has such a huge impact on everything. A lot of people that I talk to are living in this place where money is controlling them, right? It's controlling the kind of work that you do. It's controlling how you show up in your business. It's controlling all the opportunities that you say yes to or the opportunities that you say no to. It prevents you from living the kind of life that you want to live. Money is in control, and often money is saying no. But I believe that we can be the ones in control of our money. We have all the power. We have all the control. And as a result, we are in control of our lives. And it all comes down to awareness and intention. And that's what happens when you change your relationship with money is you become the creator of your life.
Oh, I love it. Oh, this has been so good. Okay, so tell everyone where they can find you, all the goodies and everything, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can come and connect with me on Instagram at the Biz Hippie, TheBizHippie. I'm super active there, so please feel free to send me a message, and I'd love to hear, what highlights stood out to you today from listening to this episode. I also love to gift a special offer to my podcast listeners, and that is a free abundance activation session with me, which is a half-hour one-on-one Zoom call where we're going to dive deep into your current relationship with money, where you're currently at, where you want to go, and create a roadmap for exactly how we can get you there. So if you would love an abundance activation session with me, I would absolutely love to have you. You can sign up for your session at www.thebizhippie.com/activate.
And I will make sure to put all of those links in the show notes below or in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. Oh my goodness, Scarlett, this has been so, so, so good. I thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing your wisdom because it truly is a huge, important thing that we need to be having a lot more conversations around, in my opinion.
I totally agree. And I think the more of us that, take this information and learn from it and use it in our lives, the better all of our lives become. And then the better the world becomes too. So thank you for having me on so that we can continue to share this information with everybody out there who is bravely living their best life, right? And choosing the entrepreneurial journey. I commend us all and I'm with you.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much. And for those of you watching, we appreciate you and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Go to proorganizerscoach.com to find all the ways that we can help you succeed in your business. Remember, you have the power to make a difference in people's lives through decluttering and organization. So keep honing your skills, embracing those challenges, and fostering connections. Girl, you've got this.